Hey there, guys and girls. This is Guerin the Style Renegade. Guess what, man? I'm out here in eastern Oregon in the high mountains doing some elk hunting. But you know what? I'm going to take you on a wildlife viewing trip because a wildlife viewing, when I do this, is unreal. So sit back. Come on, let's go check out what kind of wildlife we got out here. Well, this snowy morning, as I'm walking along a road, a couple of white-tailed deer appear. They're just walking along, feeding early in the morning. They have no fear as they don't even know I'm around. Just taking a nice little stroll. As you can see on this morning, I'm on a stand, and a herd of about 20 elk come walking up the hillside. There's not a bull in the bunch, and I'm looking for a bull. You know if you're going to have a hard winter or not by watching the squirrels. If they know winter's coming and it's hard, they are stocking their food supply. And watch this little guy grab this large mushroom, scamper up the tree, and he's got a hole up there where he's building food storage. He shoves it down into the hole. When he's done, here he comes. Scamper back down as he'll forage for more food. He picks up on the fact that I am there, but he's not quite sure what, as I am trying to be perfectly still, but he knows something is not quite right. He scampers over to this burnt-out tree, gets up on the top of this tree trunk, and is not quite sure what to do. Maybe I'll hit the ground, and if I get up this other tree, I'll be safer. However, these guys are always on the lookout for their safety, as a predator will pry upon them known as the coyote. This coyote is in his full winter coat looking for a dinner like a squirrel. However, he is always dinner to the cougar. And look at the size of this cougar print, almost as big as my hand. If the coyote knows this cougar is around or catches the scent, all of a sudden he takes off on a dead run for his own safety. Let's go to another stand on another morning. Oh, looky here. Two beautiful cow elk appear, and they're coming up the hillside. And as you watch them, the front one glances over towards me and then continues to move on. The one in the back, if you'll pay attention to her, she constantly is looking at me. She is the one who realizes that something is not right and possible danger lurks. The one in the front continues on, stops to feed a little bit, gets a mouthful of grass. However, the one in the back, as she starts to move, you pay attention to her head and she will walk where she is looking right in my direction, knowing something is not right. So check her out as she moves forward. All of a sudden, they catch my scent. And when they catch my scent, as the wind shifted, and they caught my scent, all of a sudden they turn and they bolt and they run as fast as they can to get out of here. All the while, this little guy, and I am not a bird expert, so I'm not even sure what type of bird it is, this little guy is busy every minute of the daylight hours scampering around this tree looking for any little insect he can find to eat. Busy little guy. So early the next morning, I'm out early right before the sun is up, walking along, and I come across this beautiful white-tailed buck. It's a heavy-boned white-tailed buck, what we on the west coast would call a 4-point. You count the eye guards and then the points beyond that. So he's got 3 points plus the eye guard, which puts him into the 4-point class. The eastern part of the U.S. would call this an 8-point, as they count all the points on the deer. Now look at him. He knows something's not right. He's picked up on me, but he hasn't caught my scent, and he's not quite sure what I am, as I don't look like a tree, as I'm standing in the open. Look at him, his majestic stance, the power in him. But he knows something is amiss. See his tail flicker? Tail flicker means he's getting ready to bolt. And when they bolt, they will grunt. Let's see if we can hear it. There he went, tail straight up in the air. As he grunted, comes to a stop. Take another look. Make sure. Let's just watch and see what he'll do. He's standing, flickers his tail. He knows something's not right, turns around, flips to the other side, takes another look, and he's going to get ready to bolt. So let's watch and let's listen and see if we hear him again. Now later that day, I come across a mule deer in full rut. When they're in full rut, it is mating season. And this guy has a couple of girlfriends in front of him. And look at his neck. His neck is swollen when they're in full rut. Display all their powers. He sniffs to know which doe is ready. And when he can get her, he hopes to bring a fawn into the spring. Now let's watch and see how he approaches. There he is. He knows which one to zero in on. He's targeted on the doe that he hopes to have a fawn with. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed filming it for you. Catching these critters on film is always one of the highlights of doing an elk hunting trip for me. So I'm going to see all of you somewhere down the road.